Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, we're diving into the world of Kippy Karoo and the Moonlaysian Crew. I'm excited because I'm currently working on the sequel, and this next installment is going to be a much longer, deeper story. But for now, let's talk about where it all begins. Kippy Karoo is the son of humble farmers, parents who live quiet lives now, but once stood as heroes. That legacy runs in Kippy's blood, and whether he's ready or not, he's the one destiny has chosen. He comes from the city of Moonlaysia, a place protected by a sacred relic known as the Sword of Light. As long as the sword remains in the city, Moonlaysia is safe from darkness. But everything changes when a shadowy group known as the Silver Shadows make their move. One of their members, a figure named Demento, steals the Sword of Light and plunges the entire city into darkness. So, what do you do when your home falls into shadow? You fight to bring the light back. Kippy steps forward to retrieve the sword, but this journey takes him far beyond anything he's ever known. He can't do it alone. That's where the Moonlaysian Crew comes in, a team ready to guide him through unknown lands, hidden dangers, and the mystery surrounding the Silver Shadows. What secrets will they uncover? What twists and turns lie ahead? And will Kippy Karoo rise to the challenge and save his city? Let's get into it. So let's start with Kippy himself. Who is Kippy Karoo? Kippy isn't your typical hero. He didn't grow up training with warriors or studying ancient magic. He grew up on a farm, waking up early, tending crops, helping his parents, living a simple life. But what most people don't know is that his parents weren't always farmers. Before settling down, they were heroes who once protected Moonlaysia from threats most people never even heard about. That heroic legacy is in Kippy's blood, even if he doesn't fully understand it yet. And that's what makes him interesting. He's not ready, he's not trained, and he's not perfect, but he's chosen. What is Moonlaysia? All right, before we go any deeper into the story, we need to talk about Moonlaysia, because this city isn't just a backdrop, it's the heart of Kippy Karoo's entire world. Moonlaysia is a bright, vibrant city built on unity, tradition, and a deep respect for the light that protects it. It's the kind of place where people know their neighbors, where festivals light up the streets, and where the culture is shaped by generations of heroes who came before. But the most important thing about Moonlaysia is the Sword of Light. This isn't just a weapon, it's a symbol. It's the source of the light's protection, of the city's protection, The reason Moonlaysia has stood strong for so long. As long as the Sword of Light remains in the city, darkness can't take hold. And because of that, the people of Moonlaysia live with a sense of hope, a sense of safety, a belief that no matter what challenges come their way, the light will always guide them. Kippy grew up in this world. He grew up surrounded by that hope, that warmth, that belief in the light. And that's why the moment the sword is stolen, everything changes. The city he knows, the city he loves, is thrown into darkness, and suddenly the world feels unfamiliar, dangerous, and uncertain. Moonlaysia isn't just a location, it's the reason Kippy steps forward. It's the reason the journey begins. It's the home he's fighting for. Who are the Silver Shadows? Alright, so let's talk about the Silver Shadows, because this group is one of the biggest forces in the entire Kippy Karoo universe. Now, I'm not giving anything away from the sequel, so don't worry. We're keeping it strictly to what's known in the world so far. The Silver Shadows are an ancient, mysterious order. Most people in Moonlaysia don't even know if they're real or just legends passed down through generations. But the stories about them, those stories are enough to make anybody nervous. They're not loud, they're not flashy, they move in silence, in secrecy, and with purpose. When people talk about the Silver Shadows, they don't talk casually. They lower their voices because this is the kind of group that feels like it's always watching, always listening. Nobody really knows how many members they have. Nobody knows their full structure, and nobody knows exactly where they came from. Some say they were protectors once, others say they were born from darkness itself. But what everyone agrees on is this: when the silver shadows get involved, the world changes. They're powerful, they're disciplined, and they follow their own ancient laws that nobody outside their order fully understands. And that's why they matter so much in the story. Moonlaysia is a city built on light, hope, and unity. The silver shadows are the opposite. They represent secrecy, darkness, and old forces that don't answer to anyone. So when they make a move, it's not just an event, it's a shift, a warning, a sign that something big is coming. And that's all I'll say for now. Spoiler free, clean, and focused on the world as it stands. Alright, let's talk about why the Sword of Light matters. Alright, now let's talk about it. The Sword of Light, because this isn't just some shiny weapon sitting on a pedestal. In Moonlaysia, the Sword of Light is everything. The Sword of Light is the heart of the city. It's the source of protection, the symbol of hope, and the reason Moonlaysia has stood strong for generations. As long as that sword stays in the city, darkness can't take hold. It's like a beacon, a living reminder that the light always wins. People in Moonlaysia don't just respect the sword, they depend on it. Festivals are built around it. Traditions are shaped by it. Kids grow up hearing stories about the heroes who once wielded it. And Kippy, he grew up believing the Sword of Light would always be there, keeping his home safe. So when the sword is stolen, it's not just a theft, it's a shockwave. The city falls into darkness, literally and spiritually. And suddenly, everything Kippy knows is turned upside down. That's why the Sword of Light matters. It's not about power. It's about purpose. It's about identity. It's about the soul of Moonlaysia. And that's what pushes Kippy to step forward. Even when he's scared, even when he's unsure. Because when the light disappears, someone has to go bring it back. So who are the Moonlaysian Crew? Now let's talk about the team, the Moonlaysian Crew. Because Kippy might be the chosen hero, but even chosen heroes can't do everything alone. The Moonlaysian Crew is a group of skilled, loyal, and sometimes unpredictable allies who step up to help Kippy on his journey. They know the lands beyond Moonlaysia better than he does, and they bring the experience, the strategy, and the support he needs to survive the unknown. Each member has their own strengths, their own personality, and their own reasons for joining the mission. Some join out of duty, some join out of curiosity, some join because they believe in Kippy more than he believes in himself. But together they form something powerful, a team built on trust, courage, and the shared goal of bringing the Sword of Light home. They guide him, they challenge him, they protect him, and they help him grow into the hero he's meant to become. The Moonlaysian Crew isn't just backup, they're family on the road. They're the spark that keeps the journey moving, and without them, Kippy's mission wouldn't even get off the ground. So let's talk about the journey begins. Alright, now let's talk about where everything truly kicks off. The moment the journey begins. Once the Sword of Light is stolen and Moonlaysia falls into darkness, the entire city is shaken. People are scared, confused, unsure of what comes next. And in the middle of all that chaos, Kippy Karoo steps forward. Not because he's the strongest, not because he's the most experienced, but because he knows someone has to do something. This is the moment where Kippy's life changes. He leaves behind the comfort of the farm, the safety of his home, and the world he's always known. He steps into unfamiliar lands, places he's only heard about in stories, and he does it with a mix of courage, fear, and determination. The perfect combination for a hero who's just starting out. But he's not alone. The Moonlaysian Crew joins him, guiding him through forests, mountains, ruins, and territories that don't exactly welcome visitors. Every step forward is a test. Every new location brings a new challenge, and every challenge pushes Kippy closer to becoming the hero he's meant to be. This is where the adventure truly begins. The first steps into the unknown, the first real taste of danger, and the first spark of destiny. So let's talk about what's at stake for Kippy Karoo. Let's talk about what's really on the line. Because this journey isn't just about retrieving a sword, it's about everything that sword represents. For Kippy, the stakes are personal. Moonlaysia is his home, it's where he grew up, it's where his parents built their new life, it's where he learned what light, hope, and community really means. When the Sword of Light is taken, it's not just the city that falls into darkness. It's Kippy's entire world. If he fails, Moonlaysia stays in the shadows. If he fails, the people he loves remain unprotected. If he fails, the legacy of the heroes before him fades. But there's something deeper at stake too, and that's Kippy's identity. This journey forces him to confront who he is and who he's becoming. Is he just a farmer's son? Or is he someone destined for something greater? Every challenge he faces, every mystery he uncovers, every step he takes toward the Sword of Light shapes him into the hero he never expected to be. So what's at stake? His home, his people, his future, and the light that holds his entire world together. Let's talk about the themes behind the story. Let's take a moment to talk about the deeper themes running through Kippy Karoo and the Moonlaysian Crew. Because yes, it's an adventure story. Yes, it's fun and full of mystery. But underneath all of that, there are some powerful ideas shaping the journey. One of the biggest themes is light versus darkness. Not just in the literal sense with the Sword of Light, but in the emotional and personal sense too. Light represents hope, courage, and the belief that even ordinary people can rise to extraordinary challenges. Darkness represents fear, doubt, and the unknown. And Kippy's journey is all about learning how to carry the light even when everything around him feels uncertain. Another major theme is legacy. Kippy comes from a family with a heroic past. Even though he grew up on a farm, he's constantly balancing who he is with who he might become. Is that classic question. Are heroes born or are they made? And Kippy's story leans into that tension in a real meaningful way. There's also the theme of community and teamwork. Kippy doesn't go on his journey alone. He can't. The Moonlaysian Crew shows that strength isn't just about power. It's about connection, trust, and the people who stand beside you when the world gets dark. And finally, there's the theme of stepping into the unknown. Every hero's journey starts with a moment where they leave behind everything familiar. Kippy's story reminds us that growth happens when we take that first step, even if we're scared, even if we don't feel ready. These themes give the story its heart. They're what make Kippy's adventure more than just a quest. They make it a journey of becoming. What makes Kippy Karoo different from other heroes? So now let's talk about what really sets Kippy Karoo apart from other heroes you've seen in fantasy stories. Kippy isn't the strongest, he isn't the fastest, he isn't trained from birth to be a warrior, and that's exactly what makes him special. Kippy is relatable, he's grounded, He's a kid who grew up helping his parents on a farm, not swinging swords or studying ancient magic. He's not perfect. He doubts himself. He gets scared. He makes mistakes, but he keeps going anyway. And that's the heart of his character. What makes Kippy different is his heart-first heroism. He doesn't step forward because he wants glory or recognition. He steps forward because he cares about his home, his family, and the people around him. His courage comes from compassion, not ego. Another thing that sets him apart is his growth. Kippy doesn't start the story as a fully formed hero. He grows into it. Every challenge shapes him. Every setback teaches him something. And every victory, big or small, builds him into the person he's meant to become. And finally, Kippy stands out because he represents the unexpected hero. The idea that greatness can come from anywhere, even a farm, even a quiet life, even someone who never imagined they'd be chosen. Kippy Karoo is the kind of hero who reminds us that you don't need to be perfect to make a difference. You just need to be willing to try. So let's talk about the world beyond Moonlaysia. All right, now let's zoom out for a moment and talk about the world outside Moonlaysia, because Kippy's journey doesn't stay within the city walls. The moment he steps out to retrieve the Sword of Light, he enters a world that's bigger, stranger, and far more unpredictable than anything he's ever known. Beyond Moonlaysia, the land is full of ancient ruins, forgotten paths, mysterious forests, and territory shaped by old magic and older conflicts. Some places are welcoming, some are dangerous, and some are the kind of places you only hear about in bedtime stories, the kind meant to keep kids from wandering too far at night. This world is alive. It has history, it has secrets, and it has forces moving in the shadows that don't always reveal themselves right away. Kippy's journey takes him through landscapes that challenge him physically, mentally, and emotionally. Every new location teaches him something about the world, about the Silver Shadows, and about himself. And the Moonlaysian Crew, they're the ones who help him navigate these unfamiliar lands because they know the dangers that lie beyond the city's borders. The world outside Moonlaysia is vast, mysterious, and full of possibilities, and in these places, far from home, where Kippy begins to understand just how big his mission really is. What makes this story unique in the fantasy genre? Now let's talk about what sets Kippy Karoo and the Moonlaysian Crew apart from other fantasy stories, because this world has its own flavor, its own identity, and its own heartbeat. First, this story blends lighthearted adventure with real emotional depth. It's fun, it's energetic, it's full of charm, but it also carries themes of legacy, courage, and stepping into the unknown. It's a story that balances warmth with stakes, humor with heart, and innocence with responsibility. Second, the hero isn't a chosen warrior raised for greatness. Kippy is a young man. He's ordinary, he's relatable, and that's what makes his journey feel grounded and human. He's not perfect. He grows into his role. And that growth is what makes the story powerful. Third, the world itself has a unique cultural identity. Moonlaysia isn't your typical medieval fantasy kingdom. It has its own traditions, its own symbols, its own sense of community. The Sword of Light isn't just a magical artifact. It's a cultural anchor, a spiritual symbol, and a piece of the city's soul. Fourth, the Silver Shadows bring a different kind of antagonist energy. They're not loud, chaotic villains. They're quiet, calculated, ancient. They move with purpose, and their presence creates tension without needing to dominate every scene. And finally, the story stands out because it's built on hope. Not blind optimism, real hope. Hope that comes from people supporting each other. Hope that comes from stepping forward even when you're scared. Hope that comes from believing the light can return. No matter how dark things get, that combination, heart, mystery, culture, growth, and hope, is what makes this story truly unique in the fantasy genre.